Everybody ready?
Yeah. Hang on, let me straighten my hair.
Call the meeting to order, 5:32. Any adjustments to our agenda? Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of January 11th. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of January 11th. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. General fund budget, FY18.
So I know that at the last meeting, you guys approved the budget that I put in front of you with a couple of minor, with the wage increase. And,
Yeah.
well, when I went back through it, there was a couple things that I hadn't adjusted, so I wanted to bring it back in so we could just talk about it and make sure that it's in the record that it was okay, that, you know, and really make sure we have the right number. So the couple things that are different are the wages, because we went from 1% to 1.5%. The increase for Laura's hours. The sheriff contract, I had it in at like 47, and then we discussed changing it to level fund it to that place of what it was last year, and I never changed that number when I went back after that meeting. Remember we had Janet was here,
Yep.
and we talked about the budget, and in the budget I had 47,000 or 48,000, and I needed to increase it to 57, which is what we had last year.
Right.
So it essentially level funded that line item.
Oh, because, no, it does, I'm just trying to think why, because the number, the 47 was generated by the contract he presented to us.
Correct.
So the additional was to get something going.
To have, yeah.
Right,
Yep.
okay.
So that wasn't in there, and then with those changes, the social service line was increased by about $1,600. So the total overall expense number for the general fund is $1,197,226, which is that last page. But what I wanted to point out was that I was telling you guys some increases in tax rates based on the numbers, and I was saying like 3 cents. Those changes made it go up to it's like 0.042 cents between general fund and highway when I add the two together. So I just wanted to make sure it was in the record that
Not 0.42 cents,
zero
by
yeah,
4.2 cents.
yeah, 7.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if that makes you rethink the budget at all, or if we want to do anything that and we can probably talk about the highway at the same time, because the highway, I wanted to do the same thing as make sure we vote on a final number. The only thing that I could think of that would help offset that tax increase is to use some money from the capital equipment fund to help pay for the, the small truck and trailer and mower that we're gonna get for the new. That would bring it down probably another penny. I mean, it might go down because we might not vote on the recycling, we might change the, I don't know, but.
So the estimated rate, 70 cents, 31 is the total, I see, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, I see, okay.
So the two numbers we're talking about are general fund, 1,197,226. Highway budget is 878,898. Those are the two expense numbers that we're talking about, and that will raise the rate by that 4.2 cents that we were talking about.
Okay, and the difference of that essentially penny that we added to it represents a, well, I guess it represents a no, it doesn't represent a 1% increase. Let's see, I just want to figure that out. Anyway. I mean, the difference between going up 3 cents and going up 4 cents is the difference between,
It'd be like a half.
yeah, 3.6% or something like that, yeah.
So, I mean, all of the things that we talked about, I think we were all pretty solid in that we wanted to include it in the budget, but, so I don't know if there's an expense line that you wanna reduce, but there's a possibility of the, you know, us getting some other revenue from that capital fund, and I can tell you the balance in there right now is,
And that capital fund is capital equipment, so it's really.
it's called capital reserve, so,
Right,
yeah,
but what we use it for is, well,
well, we've
we
used
can
it,
use it for anything we
Yeah.
want, but we typically use it for vehicles.
yeah.
It wasn't,
Well, in town hall, we did some town hall repair,
Yeah,
they voted
Yeah.
on the, so.
did it have an excess in it anyway? I mean,
Yeah,
more
so,
than
so
one would-
we have 25,000 of it that's set aside for the town hall projects that we're doing, the carpet and all of that. But, so that leaves us at about, at the end of this year, about $88,000. I am proposing that we move. There's not a car over
Here
there.
comes the roof.
Is your car over there? I
It
don't think
was.
it went that far.
It's a little far away. Hope you
Because there's
have
been a couple
insurance.
of them over there. It's not our parking lot.
Oh, that's right. Hope they haven't, I know.
I am proposing in the draft warning to move some money out of that fund to create a new sidewalk fund and a roof fund to start building a capital for those projects. But you guys haven't approved that yet, so if we did that, that would leave us about $68,000
If we moved it.
if we moved it.
But
So with all-
not if we spent money on the truck and stuff.
Right, well, let's say you guys say, yeah, we wanna set up these reserve funds and we
Right.
use capital money. After that, we'll have 68,000.
68, right.
So if we take 20, we'll be down, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And 20 would change it by about a penny.
yeah. I mean, I hate to use the capital to do that.
Although it is a capital investment.
It
It's
is.
a vehicle.
I mean, at
No,
some
I-
point, we're gonna have to add money back in the budget to start building that capital reserve up again too, so,
Right.
you know, I think
No,
this.
I would agree. I would tend to leave it in place as it is and leave the capital in place as it is, but that's up for discussion.
Wait, and what was this before?
It was like .034, so I can't. I
Okay,
don't
so
know
it
exact-
is almost.
Yeah,
a
it's just
penny.
a whole, it's about a whole
basically,
thing,
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, if it was .034,
It's not
it's a little
quite-
less than a
yeah, it's a
penny,
little
so
less
it's
than a
about a
penny.
0.5%.
It just looked like a penny because it went from 3 to 4 to
Right.
me, but it's a
Yeah.
little, yeah. And that's a pretty significant jump in 1 year, but,
The total of the four,
yeah.
yeah.
I do feel like we're readjusting and making things, I don't know, we're getting the budget to where we need it to be sustainable. You know, and that's
Although-
assuming
although-
everything's gonna pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and that's the thing, is
Yeah.
this could be adjusted.
Could be more, could
obviously.
be less.
Split the difference.
You know-
Drop it a half a penny.
Half of the penny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting the budget closer to where we want it, but I would also say the nature of the beast is it goes up by a few percent every year.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no easy way around that. There are ways around it, but
Yeah.
what we've come used to having for services, you know,
Yeah, and I'm not sure, I mean, I guess if I was to look at the budget, the 40,000 is really what made it kind of creep up, the 40,000 for the recycling,
Yeah.
obviously made that
Right.
creep up.
Which
And then the
is,
big difference in
which
the,
remains an unknown
somewhat
figure.
negotiable.
Right,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, that's, we may not,
yeah, by the time,
we're sort of just
we get there, we may not. I don't-
choosing to put that in the budget now as opposed to creating a deficit spending situation.
At
Down
some
the
point,
road.
yeah,
Uh,
which is likely to happen if we don't put it in the budget now, but
As you know, right.
unless people say, you know
Take
what,
your
we'll
umbrella,
take
it won't
we'll
rain,
take
and
it
if you
to-
do.
yeah, there you go. But if people decide they wanna take their recycling to Brattleboro, then
Yeah.
so be it, so.
Or we may have a more realistic number by then, that we can go to town meeting and say, okay, 40,000 was a little bit too much, we're gonna, you know, we've done the research,
It's more
this
likely
is,
to be
yeah.
X amount, yeah.
yeah, which I'm still working on.
Right, yeah.
Right, which we don't have that number to present, say realistically.
There's also, I mean. it
Yeah,
sounds like
there's
some
also-
also options.
Yeah, there may
It's
be some-
twice that.
It sounds like there may be some more discussion going on down there too,
Right.
so.
Yeah. Well, I would be tempted to leave it like this and be prepared to explain thoroughly on town meeting day what the, you know, what the most significant are, but also some of the small nuances if people wanna hear about them.
Yeah, okay.
Would be
So,
my feeling.
if we could have,
It's- Yeah.
if you could have a clear vote on the total, that way we'll have something in the minutes that matches what we're putting in the town report.
Mhm.
We didn't really do it that way, and I feel a little bit more comfortable with it if we do that.
So you would like a motion to accept the general fund budget for FY 18 in the sum total of $1,197,226?
Yep,
I mean, it
Perfect.
sounds like I'm posing that as a question.
sounds good to me.
Now, just clarify for me why that's, cause, yeah.
There's other
amount,
revenue.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I was asking why that was the amount to be raised, or why the amount to be raised is
Less than what you're
less
voting
than
on.
what we're voting on, and it's because we have various revenues. Obviously.
And so we're just doing general fund right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Taxes.
yep, I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the general fund budget as presented, with a total revenue necessary of $1,197,226. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so same project for the highway.
Yeah. That number actually hasn't changed since we last met, it's just we didn't even vote on that number.
Highway,
Yeah.
right.
All right, then I will make that motion that we accept the FY 18 highway budget at $878,898.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the highway budget as presented. We need to raise a total of $878,898 from all sources. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't know if you want to make a notation that the total town budget is $2,076,124 or not.
Okay.
Helpful to have, just to see the whole number. Okay.
All right, social service agencies.
Did you say something?
Oh, I thought Pip was coming later to present about the London Regional Commission.
Oh, we're gonna talk about yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if
I
I was
missed
something,
her.
I didn't know if you wanted to. Sorry.
Social service agencies, so basically you just extrapolated the numbers for this from our final
Yeah, and I
budget number.
just, nothing has changed, I just wanted to make sure that you guys saw there's no new, social service agencies that were added.
And this,
Because the budget's a little higher, they're getting a little bit more money.
that number matches the number you,
It does not because we take out capital, long-term debt and capital expenses.
okay. So it's based on 2.5% of $1,719,704,
Yep.
which comes up for a total of $42,993 to be distributed to social service agencies.
And really, I don't think there needs to be a vote. I think it's just more of if you guys have any questions about the agencies. We did get surveys back from everybody.
And we didn't add anybody new.
We did not add anybody new.
But we are, and next year we'll just drop the names,
Right.
drop in Center and Morningside, and that will all become Groundworks Club.
Well, we'll probably even take it out of, because last year, this will be the second year, so I don't think we need 2 zeros there.
No.
Yeah, for the town report, I'll have Laura take those out.
That's got a little more space in the town report.
We may still leave the notations in case people are not familiar with what Groundworks Collaborative is, but.
All right,
Did you have any questions for you?
Nope.
draft warning.
So,
So we come first this year, is that right?
well,
No.
no,
Right,
that
is
is
there-
not
is there
right.
even-
We're
is there
waiting
going
for
to
the
be a
school.
school? Is there going to be a school session?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
Did they
As
vote
a-
on that?
They didn't vote. What?
Well, I don't know.
No, he's not talking about, he's
I'm
talking about the governor's.
governor's
No, I know.
proposal that the,
Recommendation.
Would that be for this
School-
year, so they wouldn't,
I've got to assume that
Yeah.
it wasn't terribly clear, but having, I listened to what they had to say. and, that'd be a good idea.
You mean to zero fund it?
It was this year.
To level fund it.
Fund it and
And he
also-
proposed to change a date for approving that to May 23rd,
May
I think
23rd,
it
something like
was,
that, yep.
yeah.
to give people a chance to work it through.
Right, I mean,
as everybody knows,
Right, we're all,
that was not
yeah, that was,
warmly welcomed among the educational
would say,
community,
right.
so I'm not sure how that's gonna work out, but.
Well, at this point right now, we don't have the school articles, so you guys will approve this, the school
Yep.
approves theirs, then we
We'll
kind
take
of
care of
marry
our
them
business,
together,
but-
and then you guys have to come in and sign them, but, so we'll go through these tonight. I have it set that we could have a meeting next week if you want time to digest. We don't have any new articles, no one has brought in a petition to put an article on the
But
warning.
for printing of the town report, next week's
Next,
in
yeah,
time, so to speak.
yeah,
'Cause
but.
the only thing I would say,
Is it the first?
Yeah, it was the 30th is what he had told me, but
the first.
there's a
if there
few
was one.
little,
And
there's a
if
couple
there was a
of
place,
There's a little-
well, the only thing I'm thinking is we have historically had a discussion with the town moderator in the process of discussing these.
Is May, June?
Yep, she
Yeah,
is.
okay.
And it, I mean, I think we can look at them, go through them.
Mhm.
But
I
we
think-
probably ought to at least, even if we decide to approve them tonight, so we don't have
Yeah,
to
we'll
have
have
a
her
meeting
come in.
next week,
Yeah,
it could be contingent upon her looking
well, it
at
can't
it.
be contingent, because once next week is it.
No, I know,
Oh,
but I'm saying it could be contingent on her, if there's any changes, then we figure that out. But basically, so
I think
that
what
she
we-
has an opportunity to view it
Yeah.
also.
all right.
Does that sound, I mean, we don't have to do that, but I think it's sort of
No,
courtesy
no, I'm
to her
not saying that we shouldn't, we
usually
just, once you vote on it, it can't be changed, so if she looks at it and something's, yeah,
then we would have to re-vote it.
yeah,
Right, so essentially what I'm saying is we wouldn't have to have a meeting next week unless Meg looked at it and said,
in between now and next Tuesday,
and
yeah.
said,
Yeah.
this isn't gonna work.
Yeah, I don't
we need
think-
to
I
do
mean,
this.
Everything's pretty straightforward, so let's go
Right,
through
I
it,
don't
let's see how
imagine
you guys
that's an
feel.
issue, yeah.
So, the first four are standard, and then there's, the one about Wyndham and Windsor Housing Trust, to see if the town will vote to accept Wyndham and Windsor Housing Trust and Putney Cares for municipal and educational taxation. That's an every 5-year vote, they're up for it this year. And the other one is the East Putney Community Club, Pierce's Hall. So those are the 2 voted exemptions for this year.
That's good, I came.
Now, remind me, because Wyndham and Windsor pay taxes, but it's at a lower rate, is that why we have to exempt them?
No, they don't pay taxes on this property.
On which property?
This is the noise
just,
house.
Okay,
Yes,
so right, okay.
yeah. So this would be one of the exemptions that we vote.
Oh, landowner, right, okay, sorry, I missed, didn't catch that.
This would be one of the exemptions that we vote to exempt them, but then we do a fourth tax rate that helps pay for the education portion.
Right.
Okay.
Then Pierce's Hall. Then the next one is to elect trustees of Putney Public Library. The next one is to approve the sewer budget. The next article is to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to borrow an amount not to exceed $175,000 for a dump truck to be repaid over a period of 5 years. It's the dump truck that's slated to be replaced. The next one is to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $8,106 for Southeastern Vermont Economic Development Strategies for economic development within the Windham County, which is something we all talked about putting on the warning anyways. It's been on there for the last couple of years. So the two that are highlighted are really the ones that I thought we would have more of a discussion about. To see if the town will allow the select board to set up a roof replacement reserve fund using money from capital reserve in the amount of $10,000. And then the next one is to set up a sidewalk fund.
Let me
Yep.
make it just,
Yeah.
is a suggestion is specifically what roofs are we talking about replacing?
Town hall and,
Right, I mean, I'm just wondering
yeah.
if we should probably just list those roofs.
well, I don't know,
Having
library.
gone through the battle with the firehouse
Yeah,
so recently and.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, you know, or maybe, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you,
Or
but maybe
town-
it should be.
Town buildings.
Exactly,
Right,
something
right,
like,
town properties.
because I think it could be any number of different
Sure,
roofs,
right, it could be
so.
everything.
well, let
From
me
the
tell
little
you my
shed
thought
across here to
process
the town
behind it, and
garage.
maybe that will, really my thinking was really this building and the fire station, mostly. And the reason I said that was because on our capital plan, I have a roof replacement line for the town hall, which is supposed to last.
Right. This
Quite a
is
while.
for 100 years.
And then, I mean, I guess it could say roof replacement and repairs. I don't know if we're necessarily gonna replace this whole roof if it happens. I don't know. I really
Oh,
don't know.
no, not anytime
And
soon.
then the fire station, because it's so brand new,
Right,
start
let's
building
start
up.
saving
Yeah, so
building
those were
money
the
now
two
for
buildings I
20
had in
years
my
down the road.
mind. There is going to be a discussion with the library about them creating their own capital plan for that
That
building.
building. But then like the pump house
Yeah.
roof, you know, this shed back here
Yeah.
needs a
Town
roof.
garage or
Town
is that-
garage.
So
Yeah.
what do you think the
Stuff.
better wording would be if it said
I'm not,
No, I mean, I'm not
And which would come
convinced
under,
of this idea.
well, I
I'm just
mean, I
simply
guess that's a
saying-
good question because the
I'm just
library is a
suspecting somebody's
municipal
gonna ask
building.
for,
Right.
or we should just be prepared to clarify,
Well, I'm not really,
what we're
I'm
speaking
not sure I'm
of.
clear now, cause you guys raised a
well,
good point.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
I think roof replacement fund
Yeah.
actually probably makes sense because it's totally vague.
how about a
Which is-
town roof replacement fund?
Yeah, I mean, by default, that's
Or
what it is, but,
municipal building
Right.
roof
Municipal
replacement fund.
right.
That's when that question comes up, you just turn and look and say,
Yeah,
Cynthia?
yeah. Exactly. She worded it that way.
yeah, I guess,
Municipal building roof replacement fund. It's a lot, it's a mouthful,
it
isn't it?
is a mouthful.
Do these reserve funds then would cover anything either within the highway or the general?
Yeah,
Okay, so we don't have.
yeah, I don't even
okay,
need to delineate that, because, I mean, it's the select board is the one that oversees,
Okay, everything.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And then you're thinking what we would put in 5,000 a year? Probably not, it probably wouldn't need to be quite
You
that
know, I don't know,
much,
I
but-
think we would just look at it and see, really look at, then maybe take a good look at our capital plan and list every roof and maybe have an assessment done of when does somebody think that something will need to be done, what
Right.
year, and then build the capital fund
Based
based
on
off of that.
Yeah, the thing that's hard to anticipate is the cost of the roof.
Yeah.
in 30
I mean,
years.
I think that right now, because the fire station roof is so new, we can kind of.
It's a good time
you
to
know,
do it. It
we
could be a
guess-
relatively
Yeah,
small
we
number.
know what that's supposed to last
Right.
supposedly.
But
Yeah.
that was, that was pushing 60 grand, right? To
Yeah.
do that roof. So
Yeah.
30 years from now, it's gonna be pushing 150 grand or 200 grand probably.
Yeah,
So,
so,
it's a real number.
Yeah, and who knows, you know, you may not have enough in there to do, but you can have a pretty good chunk of it.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, alright, so to see if the town will allow the select board to set up a municipal building roof replacement reserve fund. I'm not sure that'll fit in the title on my page, but using money from the capital reserve in the amount of 10,000. I mean, and the other part of it is too, is trying to figure out that capital reserve money that we have, what do we wanna earmark it for something specific? And that's kind of why I picked the capital reserve fund, is we have some money there. We don't wanna take it all out, but
If we
let's
put
start
some in
earmarking
here-
it for certain
Yeah,
projects.
no, I think that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Alright, so the next article is to see if the town will allow the select board to set up a sidewalk fund using money from the capital reserve in the amount of 10,000. Same line of thinking.
And, but, so that would be to maintain or
Maintain.
upgrade the
Yeah.
sidewalk?
Yeah, and I'll tell you.
Or maintain it on an ongoing basis, or you, 'cause
Maintain
that-
it on an ongoing basis, or
But
if a
you're
big
talking
chunk
about,
needs-
you're not
Specific
talking about
repairs.
plowing and shoveling.
No,
You're
no,
talking
no.
about
I'm talking about
to
the
repair-
infrastructure
right.
itself.
Repair when
Yeah.
the stone wall comes down
Yeah,
from something.
or,
And you know-
one of the things
Right,
cracks
yeah.
or
This
whatever.
is a topic that I have as I watch other towns, you know, talk
Mm-hmm.
about sidewalk, the maintenance of sidewalks have, you know, it's not something they keep up on.
Right.
And then they get to where it's really
Costs a
crumbling and a mess
fortune.
and it costs a
Yeah.
fortune.
Yeah.
And so, since that's a brand new piece of infrastructure and we have more coming, you know,
This is
and
good.
there's some work that needs to be done.
Simply recall the condition of this sidewalk.
Previous.
Right.
Previously.
Right,
So this is being proactive,
trying to,
you
yeah.
know, rather than
Yeah,
reactive to
and just
some
build,
mess.
yeah, and build it up and, you know, if there's a major repair that needs to be done, there'll be some money there.
Is the state responsible for any parts of those,
No.
like on 5 here?
No.
Nothing, okay,
No, that's part of the grant agreement.
okay.
Really, granite curving, everything? I mean, if
Everything.
they take something out with one of their plows?
Well,
I mean, if they take it out.
yeah,
Okay.
that's probably a little different,
But wear and tear?
No.
Huh,
that was
interesting.
part of the grant agreement is even in the grant
That's
application,
right, I
you have to
remember
say.
reading that.
You have to, in the grant application, you have to say that you know you are prepared to
Absolve
take
them
on
of
this, yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah. So that's, do you see anything that might need to be? That seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the people are just gonna ask questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is a sidewalk fund? And I think
Yeah.
it should, yeah, I mean, does it need to be more specifically labeled? No, as long as,
I think if someone wants to question it, then.
I mean, it
I
could
mean,
say
it's
prepared to
sidewalk
answer it
maintenance
and speak to
fund.
it, so.
but
Not
then it
maintenance.
that's the problem, then
Sidewalk.
it sounds like upkeep or,
Well, that could be,
When you're doing an application for housing developments, you usually have a replacement reserve. Does the word replacement, you know, it's 10% of rent
except it
collected.
would be, that makes good sense, except we would also certainly want it to be, like Cynthia said, if there's a major problem with any section of it, but we'd be replacing a section. It could be.
I mean, it's,
It's inherent in the fact that it's a capital reserve fund.
yeah. I mean, and in the paperwork, the explanation, when we set up a new fund, I'm gonna create a policy for that fund. That will say the purpose of this, and I'll have that ready at town meeting, and say the purpose of this fund is for, and explain it. That way.
But then maybe we stick with roof replacement reserve fund instead of the MBRRR fund. But, no, it's okay.
It doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter. It's fine. Yeah, as long as we have a policy and it's well worded,
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
So then the last two are just the standard, we are going to vote to raise and appropriate the sum of 1.197226 to defray expenses for the general fund. And then the other one is the highway fund in the amount of 878,898, which are the amounts that you guys just voted on.
Now, I have heard that there's a petition circulating for discussion about Act 46. Is that,
I think if that's true, it's too late. Wasn't it the 19th they had to be in, I thought? Yeah, I haven't, the last time I talked to Denise, she hadn't seen anything. I'll check with maybe what we should do is set up a time to come in and look
you know
at
what,
this.
that might be it might be school.
Oh, it would be school board.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that-
but she wouldn't get it. Would she get it? I don't know. But you're right, it would be school board.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that could change this, I do need to just ship it off to the attorney to look at it, but
And
these are also standard. We don't have anything really.
I know why we don't vote,
Here.
remind me why we don't vote on the water fund.
The,
On the water
the
budget.
general fund does not support the water fund, it's only users. So the sewer fund, we appropriate 45,000.
Right, so that has to be voted on from, okay.
I mean, I don't know what would happen if they voted it down,
Voted what, the sewer
the sewer
fund?
fund.
It's certainly been a topic of discussion in the
I
past.
have no idea what would happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount that's in there is exactly the amount we need to run it.
Right.
I don't know what would happen.
No, well, what has happened in the past, you know, the discussion in the past, as you may well be aware, is, wait, why are we paying the $40,000?
Yeah.
45.
Into or 45,
Yeah.
into it, shouldn't that be raised? I mean, essentially, that's what it
Yeah.
would force. If the voters voted it down, it would force increasing sewer usage rates to make up for that.
Well, if they voted out of the budget, the 45,000 would make that, but if they vote this entire budget down, I don't know what that because that 45,000 that we're
Is part of
voting
that.
is part of our general fund number.
So, let's see, so as outlined in the town report, but we're not voting on but we don't vote on a number in that.
Well, we do vote for the revenue coming in, the 45,000.
But, so why isn't that part of this general fund?
It
vote
is.
then? So are we voting the same thing twice?
No, the sewer fund has it coming in as a revenue,
Right.
and then the town is voting
Shows
to
it,
spend it.
okay.
So,
It takes a couple of years, you know? To review this stuff again and again.
I mean, it's in the sewer ordinance that we have to vote on that.
Right.
But if it got voted down, I have no idea what we would do. I guess we would tell them, okay, what if we take the 45,000? I don't know what we would do. It's unusual for a town to subsidize the sewer
Yeah.
taxation.
No, it's been a point of contention for a long time. Oh, I think all along. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to approve the warnings for 2017 Putney Town for Putney Town meeting.
Yeah,
With the understanding that if the moderator
or the attorney.
or the attorney has any major objections, that we will reconvene to reconsider it.
Right, and what I will do is I will contact both of them Friday when I'm back in, and if I hear anything from either of them, maybe I'll have Meg come down and sit with me too. And then if, maybe Tuesday night, if we had to, just that way we could get stuff.
Quick meeting.
Yeah, just a quick meeting to go over. I don't suspect
Or
there's,
even Tuesday morning.
yeah.
I
I don't
think the
suspect
problem
there's
matters that
going to be
much.
anything, but
I
between
mean,
now and
but-
then, if there is, then we still have
Yeah.
time to, and then once it's all put together, I'll let you guys know and you can come sign it.
Alright, so moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the warnings for the 2017 Putney Town meeting as presented. All in favor? Aye.
I-
As soon as I said that, do we want to say for a dump truck?
Yeah, sure. That's a little strange without
For
saying-
dump truck.
For dump truck.
Brian, write that one?
No, that was me.
Okay, resolution for credit card. Ooh,
So,
Select board credit?
yeah.
Expense account?
So the library has always had a credit card. They use it mostly to buy postage and stuff, but they needed a new credit card. And Laura and I had talked about it. There's often times when we order something that I
It
might
would be
use my
useful.
own credit card and then
Oh,
get
then
reimbursed,
reimbursed,
or so we thought, well, while we're doing this, we might as well do it for the town. Tom has a credit card, but we've decided that he wants to close that one as well, and just we'll all have a credit card at the same institution. So,
So essentially you'll all share the same
Yeah,
credit card, the
so-
same credit card account.
right, we're sharing the same credit card account. The total limit is $20,000. Each person that's listed has a $5,000 limit.
And each person is you,
Is,
Tom,
Me, Tom, Emily,
Emily.
and then Deb Stetson. She works at the library.
right, yeah.
So, people's,
And does it not make sense to have Laura also? Does,
anything we do is gonna be on the internet, so I'm just gonna
okay.
give her the card with my name
Right.
on it. I can't imagine, there's no other place that I would use it other than when we order something, they won't take a
Right.
purchase order or
Right.
something.
Yeah,
Who's gonna get the miles for all this?
I don't think they offer that.
And who is it, Ryan, who is it we get this card from?
People's, yeah.
What's-
So,
what's
let's
their
see,
rate?
what do you need to do?
What's their rate?
Oh, I don't
Okay.
it's probably.
I imagine you'd never take the balance out though, right?
know. No.
Yeah, you know,
There's ugly and uglier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
that seems like a great idea.
1%?
Yeah,
26%.
Paper trail, to consolidate all the paper in one spot,
Yeah.
you know, that
Yeah.
seems,
Well, and
Makes
what they
sense.
found out was the credit card that they were using, both Tom and Emily, it was on their personal credit, even though it was a town credit card, because their name was on it, it was showing up on their personal credit. Yeah, which actually
could be good.
could be good, because we pay our bills
Yeah,
on
that's
time, but,
right. Yeah, no, that's good to separate that.
but you don't wanna, yeah, that's
Makes
not
sense.
something that you want. So, Anita is going to have to sign this, but you guys have to, approve the credit card resolution, I think is what it's called. Business resolution form for the town of Putney.
Okay, how do you wanna word that?
Spit something out.
Right, I'm gonna say, I'm going to
Here,
say so,
that's what
so
the-
moved.
That's what the,
Alright, so our motion is to, consolidate, are we consolidating the?
well, I would
the
just
credit card?
approve the application for municipal credit card and adopt that resolution.
Okay,
So moved.
so moved.
Would you like that?
Here it is.
Does that need, whose signature does that need?
I believe it needs
Yes.
Anita's
Okay.
as treasurer,
Yep.
and then we all have to
Well,
sign
this-
it. Does that one have to be the board clerk?
This
Does
is
it
a
say?
board clerk at the bottom underneath that. over.
Yeah.
Which is,
Oh,
Which is,
you are. Yep, you are.
he's the.
Sign away.
I'm the vice.
And then Anita has to sign this application, that's what she has to do.
all right.
Did we so move it?
Second,
Yeah, all right, let's pass it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve getting a business card and the business card resolution form for the town of Putney. All in favor?
aye. Alright. Should I print my name here too, or?
Thank goodness my signature's not on.
Yeah, I know.
I'll type it.
No, I won't print it.
Cynthia, so,
I won't print it. There goes my credit.
Okay.
All right.
So I don't think Pip is coming.
Putney Putney zoning regulations, professional planning support, Wyndham Regional Commission. Is this what you were here for?
Well, I was here to listen.
We'll let you. So, a while ago, we received a planning grant for the planning commission to hire someone to help them, work on the zoning regulations as it, pertains to the flood regulations. And the new, river corridor, mapping, and there's some new model flood regulations that have come out of Wyndham Regional that they're gonna be looking at. So, this agreement is to hire Wyndham Regional to help us with that process, which they had given us a budget and it's part of our grant application.
Yeah.
And if you look at the back, the scope of work is on the back, page 3. Most of it is really about education to the public, the people that are affected. So creating lists, mailing lists, of parcel owners, some planning, some meeting facilitations, reading the flood regs, what pertains to us and what doesn't. And there's a small amount of work that we have to do and a small amount of stuff that we are going to have to pay for, but that's part of our grant. So in order for Wyndham Regional to commence their work, they have to have a signed agreement from us.
And I also, in terms of the scope of work, would like to, if they're going to do meetings and so on, I think there should be just because you don't own a piece of land along a stream, doesn't mean you're not concerned about the stream or what it might do or what it might go. I mean, I think there should be a more general public meeting
Yeah,
as well about
I
it.
think there's 2 public meetings planned.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I know Pip was very focused on abutters
Mm-hmm.
and what generally happens is it's a new owner or someone's subdividing or, sells a lot that's not really quite up to snuff and then you run into
Well, I
problems.
would guess that it would be just abutters that would have, whatever the proper term is.
Understanding.
So that would
Well, I
have,
don't know,
For
because
regulations.
it's a town regulation.
It's a town regulation.
So it's gonna have to be approved by,
the town.
yeah, it's not like a zoning permit where only the abutters really have party status. This is a bylaw that they're adopting for the entire town.
Yeah.
Because
So,
the entire
yeah.
town, if there is a disaster, it's the entire town that has to pick up the expenses of responding
Right.
to that flood or that, destroyed home, or I personally am very concerned just in terms of residents putting themselves in danger, unwittingly, which is very easy to do, especially when you're dealing with this new concept they have of river corridor protection areas, so you avoid erosion problems. It's not just the inundation problems. And M, long ago, June of last year, filmed a presentation by the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources, which dealt very specifically with the reasoning the state had for bringing out these river corridor protection maps. And my little blurb for the town plan includes, you can just go online and watch that if you want. And I think we might be able to get it to show it to folks, again, if they'd be interested in looking at it. It was an excellent presentation.
Well, under meeting facilitation here, and it has attend and facilitate a minimum of 8 public meetings, so it sounds like we're gonna have lots of meetings, so maybe one of those meetings
I think that'd be
could
great.
include
We could
that,
re-show it or something.
yeah. All right,
Actually, I think that's only 2 public meetings. Or a couple, it's 8 hours. Oh, this one here.
I think
see.
this is
Okay.
a minimum of 8 meetings to get the,
attend and facilitate
Oh, I see.
the 2 public
Gotcha,
meetings.
okay.
This is up for interpretation.
Yeah.
oh, they're saying prepare. That is a little
Hmm,
confusing.
yeah, that is, I haven't seen the second one there, but yeah, I'm guessing you're right, that it's sort of 8 meetings in preparation for 2. but-
4-hour meetings or something.
It's just bureaucracy at its best.
Wait, that's.
I mean, I do know that part of the grant application and
Is to
part
hold
of
public
what.
meetings.
Yeah, that, but it also is to really do a focused effort to educate the people that it is going to affect the most
Right.
in their property. Not saying that the rest of the town should be left out of it, and they're not, obviously, if we have public meetings, but there is a very direct, targeted approach to making sure that the people that own property in these areas really understand what it is that we're talking about. So, and that's what the grant was based off of, and that's what this scope of work is about.
Was this in conjunction a bit with the FEMA thing? We were discussing that, and
I'm sure there's overlap in the
Yeah.
in the updated floodplains. Is
that,
what
and
you're
it was
talking
part of
about?
that, kind of some of the hazard mitigation.
Management
Yeah.
plan and-
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, if you go on the A&R website and look at their atlas, and you do the overlay for the FEMA maps, and then you do the overlay for the new river corridors, there are a lot more people affected, and you know, I think some of the questions that need to be answered, and I don't know the answers myself, or does it affect flood insurance, or is that just still FEMA, and you know, the regulations are targeted for, the newer regulations are targeted to talk about the river corridors, which restricts someone's property and what they can do. But then again, do the restrictions need to be there, because if there's a flood and your property is damaged, somebody's got to, or even just knowing that there's the possibility that it could flood and do damage. So, but there is I mean, Anne's right in saying that there is a targeted approach to this process of talking with the people that are within that new
Right,
corridor.
yeah.
But the FEMA regs the inundation part doesn't go away. It's you know, I'm sure that will also be included in the ordinances. The, what do you call them? The flood hazard areas is what they're called. The things we're all used to. That's also covered.
Right, that's still gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting too. I find this kind of fascinating, but it's interesting too that, and I almost want to say it was you saying that, but also looking at things such as emerald ash borer, which affects along streams, you know, and should we replant other trees there in anticipation of losing all the ash and stuff like that. So I mean, it's pretty big.
Overall resilience
Yeah.
approach,
Yeah.
yeah.
But this is I think that's a very important thing that the Conservation Commission could wrap into its ash tree survey. The ordinances are very much focused on, should you allow people to build a house in an area we know is very susceptible to future damage? Or should you allow someone to subdivide their property and sell a lot to some unsuspecting person who is going to have to then build a house in an unsafe area to meet road setback requirements or something like that?
I mean, there are some implications with all, and this we can all talk about at the public meetings, but there are some implications in this new model regulation of the level of expertise that the person that's managing or the floodplain, that's me, what you have to know in order to follow through with these regulations. You know, I mean, it requires engineers, it requires, you know, if you live in this area and you want to do some work, you are going to have an engineer come in and do a plan for you. Yeah, which is very different for a lot of people. And so I think that, not saying that's good or bad, I'm not advocating for it, but that's why I'm thinking that the scope of work we're talking about in this is mostly targeting the people that need to have those questions answered and will understand it if it happens. Yeah.
No, and I'm guessing, as is typical of many things in Vermont, that we're probably behind, maybe not most states, but many states in our approach to this, in That would be my guess, just because sort of code compliance type stuff and regulation of construction,
Yeah.
we tend to be behind.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, right over the border in Massachusetts, this
A little
stuff
more,
is
yeah.
very tightly regulated, but
Yeah.
I don't know that, but that would be my guess, and I think that we're probably just sort of heading in that direction of wise regulation of potentially dangerous areas.
And it does definitely take into account things that are getting wetter,
Yeah,
just because they're
yeah,
warmer, it holds
The
more
reality,
moisture, and it's
yeah.
just the reality that we all can see outside our doors happening.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna get worse, not better, is it?
I mean, I personally, I think it's great that they're doing this because a lot of times towns,
don't know this.
well, and towns try to do a really good job at informing people, and you have public meetings, and but if that's not your normal course of business every day, you might not pay attention to it.
Right.
And so by letting people know that live in areas that are going to be affected by this new regulation, I think is a really great proactive step to try to get people to understand what the reasoning is behind it.
And then the second
Top of the
Yeah,
list,
good.
create list with contact info for affected parcel owners. Make it clear.
Yeah.
All right, so this,
It's for me to sign and for Pip to sign, so if you just want to approve the agreement, I will go ahead and sign that.
Make motion to enter into an agreement between Wyndham Regional Commission and the town of Putney as detailed. I don't know if we were-
and to have town manager be the signator.
And to have the town manager be the signator.
Okay.
Signator.
Second, good.
Been moved and seconded to enter into the agreement between Wyndham Regional Commission and the town of Putney, and to have town manager Stoddard be the signator for said agreement. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I have one point of information. Is there a time schedule for this to begin? Do you know?
I don't
And
know.
after you
Yeah.
sign it, you'll figure that out?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, town manager report.
I don't really have anything. I am attending a public information officer training. I was there today and I will be there tomorrow.
Where's that?
It's up at the State Police Barracks in Westminster.
Oh,
Yeah.
how was that there? Pretty nice?
Yeah. They don't let you in very far, so.
No.
Unless you just.
I was gonna say.
Pretty much you can
It's
go to
funny,
the
I've seen the
bathroom.
whole place.
Go to the bathroom, then you can go to the conference room. That's pretty much the area, so everything else is locked up. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, just the mechanics of getting in front of a camera and information and where you set up media. It's for really for a big event. If something
Right.
happens. But we have homework tonight, and one of the things we have to do tomorrow is present a press release and what we would use in order to get the information out, and they're going to get the camera out. We have to sit in front of the camera and be interviewed and all of that. I'm going to do the closing of the road for the trick-or-treating.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I figured if I did it, maybe that would give us a little bit of
Yeah.
because they're all talking about these major events, and I'm like, well, we were going to close the road for trick-or-treating, but we were worried about how to get the information out to people.
yeah.
So
No, and that's a good sort of simple exercise that you can put
yeah,
to use.
they'll interview us and
Yeah.
have the camera in our face, and I'm glad I'm doing it because I have often thought, when you see something happen in the news and then you see a local official standing in front of the camera, and I'm like, what would I say? What would I do? Would I even know? So it's a very basic course, but yeah,
It's useful.
but it gives you the basic, fundamental, where to stage media and that kind of thing. So it's interesting. It's not municipal people that are there. Police officer, fire chief, and then somebody from New Haven.
Right, and of course, they're the ones that typically are the
Yeah.
on the front page kind of
Yeah.
thing. So,
So,
thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
See ya.
So that's what I'm up to. There's a couple things I'm trying to write for town meeting. One of them is to put something together about the donated land. I'm not really sure what to put together, but so those are the things I'm gonna be working on in the next month. Yeah,
Next one?
just to try to have some information available on things that we've been working on.
Yeah,
We're having a public safety committee meeting tomorrow night.
good.
Not sure who's coming, but
Janet's.
that's what
meeting up
she's
in
coming,
Castleton
that's
to
what she's
present
coming
about
to
it.
talk to them about. And we need a select board report.
I know. I'm
From
aware of
someone.
that.
I'm gonna write the highway
Yeah.
foreman report. We did have the pre-bid conference for the sidewalk yesterday for both
Mm-hmm.
resident engineer, and construction.
Did you have turnout?
We had one person for engineer, one person's coming Friday, the weather kind of held him off.
Yeah,
And then 2 construction. No one has asked for the prints yet, or the plans yet.
I was just up at VHCB today, and that was a topic of discussion, is that as construction is picking up,
Yeah, these projects are,
competition for, trying to encourage competition on bids is getting harder.
yeah. So we'll do a little outreach in the next couple weeks and see,
Who we can get.
yeah. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the requirement is to get at least 2. So otherwise you have to rebid and see if you get more. So that's kind of what I'm working on. I did give you a budget, an updated budget. I worked on it the other day. Everything's pretty clean. There isn't anything that stood out, no. No, there is, I did do an accounting of where we will be at year end with the switchover of treasurer, town clerk, and if we hire a bookkeeper July 1st.
That's not in here.
It's not in there, but I
Right.
just did it on paper and said,
Yeah.
okay, if we pay this person from here to
This amount,
here,
right.
this person from here to here, it almost is a wash between what we're gonna pay the new town clerk,
Yeah,
what we'll continue to pay Anita till June 30th. I think the bulk of it will be, there will be some money that we pay out to Anita for vacation. So,
which we
which
would
we
pay out
do.
anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, but as far as the wages go, there wasn't
Good.
really a big, it was almost a wash, so. That's if we don't hire a bookkeeper until July 1st, so there might be a couple weeks that we have somebody, but, that's assuming all of, that everything goes through, the way we're presenting it. There are no warrants tonight.
All right.
Other
Good,
than
you're
that,
saving money.
we're spending money, we just don't have, we haven't printed the checks yet.
We spent $2 million.
All right, if nobody has anything else, meeting adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good, thank you.